That's what we'll do. Email them to me at actually, I'd rather not have them email them to me. Okay, this is what you do. So
this is going well.
Yeah. So this will be episode, what is this? 17? What is it? No, 18. Let me see. What did I just post? All right. So this is episode 17.
17. Lucky 17.
Yeah. She's only 17.
Oh, you threw out
17.
A little winger.
Dude.
You winged me. You winged me.
Winger knew what was up.
Don't wing me. Don't wing me, man. Is this the Halloween episode? Would this be coming out? This is our, it's Halloween week.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween, everyone. It's Halloween week. By the time this comes out, it'll be Halloween. It's Halloween. This is amazing. I love Halloween. It's our favorite holiday. It's Christmas for us.
You know it.
I was trying to think of something special to do today for Halloween, but I've been running around getting tested again and working and stuff, so I didn't really come up with anything unless I come up with something off the cuff. I don't know what that would be. But,
I got invited to a party on Halloween. I don't think it's a big party. I think it's like an intimate Halloween party. So I think we're going to go to that.
I'm going to probably stay home and pop popcorn and eat candy and carve pumpkins and watch horror movies and drink cider.
Unless the weather's like it was today, then I won't be going anywhere on Halloween.
Yeah, right? It's crazy.
We had rain yesterday, too.
Did you? We didn't get any here.
You didn't get any rain? We got rain. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, we
I
need
like a rain. I like a gloomy October, to be honest with you. I'm enjoying the cooler weather now, finally.
Yeah.
And the grayness has been lovely. And, yeah, so happy Halloween, everybody. I hope everyone's going to stay safe and have fun and do something, wear a mask.
And had a lot of fun at the Knott's Taste of Halloween Friday night.
Ah, yes, that I couldn't go to. Was it good?
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Kirk Acevedo and his wife appreciated you not being able to go. So
I'm sure. I'm sure he did. Yeah, I wanted to go to that, was super stoked about it. Then, of course, as always in my life, the one date that all right, I'm just going to say I'm going to that. Then it always happens. It's a get off my lawn thing for me. So I'm going to mix that into the conversation. Mm-hmm. It never fails that something I'm working on drops a fucking shoot date or a thing on the date that I have something fun planned. Always. And that happened. But it went well. It was a good, go back again and do it tomorrow and the next day. I make up on a lovely young gentleman who everyone knows. And it went good, but I was super bummed I missed it. What'd they have? What kind of food?
All kinds of good stuff. I'm trying to think of what my favorite was. One thing that really surprised me, because I'm not really a pastrami guy, they had these pastrami tater tots. They were tater tots with pastrami and mustard and like a cheese sauce. And it to me, it looked and sounded awful, but Nay and I got one to share because we just wanted to try different things. I was shocked at how tasty it was. I was like, damn, that's pretty good. Because I don't really like mustard, and I'm really not a pastrami guy.
Me neither.
The combination.
A lot of salt. It gives me the sweats.
Okay, I was hoping you weren't going to say it gives you something else.
No.
Oh, they had this really good 50-50 like orange sickle icy thing. It was like vanilla ice cream and an orange icy mixed together. That was really good. It was some good shit. I had a good time.
Was it kind of like an Orange Julius type of situation?
Sort of, yeah. But it was good. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know how to turn that sound off. Nick Castle keeps texting me. Those are modern problems, right? Those are
modern problems. Yeah. Oh, geez. It's Halloween week and Nick Castle keeps texting me.
Well, this is Nick's way of trying to get on the show. He's texting like during the He's
That's
trying to
all
get
right.
back on. Hey guys.
We'll put him back on the show. We just saw Nick. We were at his house.
Yes, we were.
What was that? Last Wednesday. Last Wednesday.
Yeah. And James Jude Courtney was there as well. It was a little Halloween reunion at Nick's house. I don't think we can say why. I think it's all hush hush, but
is it?
I think so.
Okay.
But filming something.
Yeah. It was nice. Had a really lovely evening that day.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have to run out so quickly because I was really enjoying myself, but I had to pick up the significant other at the airport.
Well, that was more important. We just sat around and talked about old guy stuff for the most part.
That's what this whole show is. That would have been fun.
We talked about ailments and this and that, and it was fun. But it was fun. We got a little political, got a little philosophical. We got a little, ate a lot of pizza, ate a lot of salad. That not the salad that was all over the table.
Because I don't know how to use tongs.
Tongs.
What are they? Tongs?
Tongs.
Tong, not thongs or something you wear in your area.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was funny. I'm trying to use these things to get salad, and I go, I'm not very good at this. And as I'm carrying it over to my plate, it just goes and just goes everywhere.
Salad everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was a lovely evening, and we did a thing, shot something there at Mr. Castle's house, and then we went on a little field trip and went back to Pasadena and went back to Sugar Mint, and we saw some Halloween location sites, which was lovely. And then we
took James to see the Sugar Mint, and he'd never seen the original Myers house or anything, so we showed him a couple things and
watched. A lovely evening.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Watch a guy in a ghost face costume taking pictures in front of the Myers house for some reason.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, that's the wrong guy. It's the wrong house, dude.
Since this got cut out of the last episode, this was my birthday present from Nick. He got me and it's fallen off, but he got me a thing of Diet Coke, and he had this glued on the side, but it fell off, and it's, as you can see, he CGI'd a little or photoshopped
CGI'd.
Yeah. He went to ILM and got them to put this Diet Coke can instead of a Dr. Pepper can. And and he signed it to me. Woo. Happy 50th. And he little personalized Sean Clark Happy 50th bottles. So I thought that was sweet.
Are you going to drink those, or are you going to keep them in the box? And
I'm drinking them. I'll drink them. I just wanted to save them to show them off for the show at least. I'll definitely keep the little Nick Castle handmade thingamajig. I got this in the mail this week. A fan, Andrew Alberi, sent me it's a Tots mask. I'm trying to get on. I think he went a little heavy on the nose thing there, but it looks pretty good. I mean, he did the matting pretty nicely.
Mm-hmm.
And
look at that.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Andrew. Yeah.
I didn't want one, Andrew. That's cool.
No, he didn't. He makes his own. And I also got this from my buddy Scott. I think he's making these. Has something to do with making these for this company here. They're doing these Halloween 3. They're like challenge coins, kind of, and some pins. Like they did. Like it's hard to see. There we go. There's a witch one, and skull. They're like those challenge coins I was showing you before. Pumpkin,
right?
And then there's also a set of pins. Cool. A set of pins as well. I'm trying to get them in the light.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I'll take a good picture of these and post it with it so you can actually see them. But yeah, he out of nowhere said, "Hey, I got something for you. Give me your address." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I guess he's making and selling those. So let's get into some questions.
Let's get into some questions
before we have our Halloween. Oh, I didn't even notice you're wearing the shirt. Very nice. I wore this one. I just got this from Gutter Garbs, a new one.
Right? Sure. It's a good one.
Yep. They sent me a nice little care package. Oh,
Also,
shit.
we have
I'm glad you reminded me. I would have forgot. Should we toast those bad boys up now while we're reading questions?
I like it raw, so if you want to
I
toast it,
forgot.
you go ahead.
Let me throw mine in the toaster real quick. Since we had such a tremendous response to old dudes eating Pop-Tarts, we're gonna try another.
While we still have our teeth.
Yeah. And even when we don't, I'm gonna gum those things. I'm gonna till the day I die.
I'll put it in a blender and
have
some mushy Pop-Tarts.
So I stumbled upon this other limited edition red, white, and blueberry. My guess is it's just going to be blueberry with some colored crust. But dude, where do you get these magic beverages that just appear? It's insane.
I know that it's magical. It's magical. And look what's on my mug. Look, I got the new, instead of Jack Skellington, I'm going with... Oh, is that
Scarlett Johansson?
That's the bride. It's the Bride of Frankenstein. Right,
you didn't hear the news?
A little hot coffee.
Did you not hear the news? Scarlett Johansson's going to be playing the bride.
Is she?
That was on.
Really?
That was the news this week, that she was cast as the bride, which I kind of can see.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I'm right now. I feel like I have to cancel doing this show and go figure out how to get that movie.
And if there's
see you later. I gotta go do.
If there's any need for help, a life cast or anything, a full body cast, and you need extra hands or some spackling, I can help, because I want to be involved.
Copy that.
Because I'm just
all right.
I'm a giver.
You know.
What?
Well, if you really want to be involved, then let me go and try to get this job. I'm sitting here eating Pop-Tarts. I should be going to try to get my dream job.
Well, as soon as we're done with this, you can go after your dream job. Ooh, speaking of pop, I just heard them pop. Let me grab them.
Now I have to Google that while you're tarting. Yep, there it is. Scarlett Johansson.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
You found it? See? I'm not lying.
Yep.
I just got something in the
We'll direct a genre hybrid film for Apple and A24. Ooh, I've always wanted to work with A24.
Get on the horn when we get done. So I just got this in the mail, and it's very odd because it's just a styrofoam cube wrapped in plastic. Look at this. This is how something was shipped to me.
Huh.
And
what is it?
Says Client Services Center, Return Department. I don't know what this is. I'm going to open it up while my Pop-Tarts are cooling. Fine adult collectible. Uh-oh.
Adult collectible.
Yeah. I don't know what
porno
this is.
Collectible? Is it a...
I hope it's a porn thing.
Christy Canyon action figure? Is it a Nina Hartley action figure?
I don't know those names you're referring to, because I'm not a perv.
Right. Sure. You're wholesome.
I don't celebrate their entire catalogs.
I do.
Maybe I ordered these and didn't realize it. Because I ordered the Jack and Pumpkin one, but these are Sally Cactus and a
Sally Succulent.
Deadly Nightshade Cactus.
Oh, nice.
You know what? I think I may have gotten hoodwinked by this friggin' company into signing up for a series when I thought I was only buying 2. It's one of those like Bradford Exchange things. I think that's what it is. I think those fuckers sucked me into a subscription of some sort. Right. I'll have to look into that. But
kind of like that records and tapes thing you used to do.
What
was that?
Columbia House.
Columbia House records and tapes, where you get a record for a penny.
Oh, yeah, those are the days. So we're gonna do this. Check that bad boy out. It is red, white, and blueberry but it's red. And it's white, but guess what's inside? It's blueberry. Let's give it a shot.
I got mine. My icing is, this one is kind of lazy. They just ran it through the mill.
It's got red and blue sprinkles on it, too.
Oh. I don't know.
It just tastes like a blueberry Pop-Tart.
It tastes like Windex. It's got like a Windex kind of cleaner kind of vibe.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I like it.
Yeah?
Maybe you need to toast it to get rid of that Windex taste.
Maybe it's got to evaporate the alcohol and ammonia that's in it. Yeah. I don't know about those. I don't know, guys. I guess, no. It tastes like cereal. It tastes
like America. It tastes like fucking America, man.
Like shit, you mean? It's very sugary. I like the pretzel ones better.
I wouldn't buy it again.
Right.
I'll eat it, but I wouldn't read this. This isn't get a repurchase.
Right. Yeah, I'll probably, even though I'm not really crazy about them, I'll probably eat them for the rest of the show.
All right, well, let's get into some questions while we eat these tasty Americana Pop-Tarts. Limited edition. About to choke to death. Limited edition. If I choked on America.
I'm okay.
Are you sad? Are you sad it's not as good as you want it to be?
Just the flavor in my mouth just fills me with dread.
Brittany said, when are you going to do another Hallowed Grounds? I would love for you to do Halloween 2018. I love watching your show with Chris. You guys are a great team. Well, I kind of covered this, I think, in a previous question. Horror's Hallowed Grounds is more about a retrospective looking back, years later. So 2018 was 2 years ago. Probably be a while before I get around to that one.
When would you do that? When would you do the 2018? Say 2028?
I do it on classic films. So
right. Okay. It's very good then. There's the answer, everyone.
No, I just did Rob Zombie's Halloween, so I think I'll get to it eventually. A. Stanton. About 20 years ago, I walked into the monster movie memorabilia store at Hollywood and Highland, forgot the name of the store, to browse. To my surprise, there sat Gordon and Combs at a table to sign DVD copies of Reanimator for anyone who bought one. Nobody was there. It was like that record signing scene in Spinal Tap. I bought one and they both signed it, talked about the film with them for about 15 minutes and nobody else showed up. They were both cool guys. You're probably talking about Hollywood Book and Poster, which was close to Hollywood and Highland, but wasn't on Hollywood and Highland. That's the only place I can think of that would be having a DVD signing with Stuart and Jeffrey, unless maybe there was a Virgin Mega store at Hollywood and Highland at one point. Maybe there. But he's saying monster movie memorabilia store, so it's got to be Hollywood Book and Poster.
Yeah, it's got to be. That's the only thing that was around there.
Yeah, which is gone now, sadly, because Eric Caden passed away. Good guy. I went there for years, even back when it was over on Hollywood and Vine, way back in the day. Boogeyman Ben. He said, wow, this was incredible. I have always had a tremendous respect for Mr. Combs. I did not see Reanimator until I was older. My first real exposure to Mr. Combs' work was The Frighteners. I still know What You Did Last Summer and House on Haunted Hill. I loved him in those films, particularly The Frighteners, which is my favorite of his works. This was just a fantastic interview with this icon. I was very saddened about Stuart Gordon's passing earlier this year. I was just curious if either of you seen his film Stuck from 2007. The film is inspired by real events, and I think it's brilliant. Best to you both. Thank you for this amazing weekly podcast. I own Stuck on DVD, but I've never watched it.
I've never seen it. Didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I need to get around to watching it. I think I was sent a review copy, because 2007 was back when I was still a journalist. And did I review it? Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Pretty Little Horror Gal.
Whoa.
Yeah. Love the podcast. A question for Sean. What is your favorite and least favorite Hallowed Ground experience? And also, can you get the dreamy and charismatic Robert Russler back on your show, please?
He's so dreamy.
He is so dreamy. My favorite episode is Session 9. My favorite experience was Halloween 3 because I was in the original town with Tommy Lee Wallace. Least favorite was John Carpenter's Someone's Watching Me, because it was just the most boring episode ever, because those locations were boring as hell. And it was one I really didn't want to do, but just did because. There you go. Strummin' Skull. I guess it's all in one word. Strummin' Skull.
Okay.
Hello, Chris and Sean. I was wondering, what special effects was Chris responsible for in The Tax Collector? Just watched it and thought the blood and gore was well done. Loving the podcast up here in Canada. Chris?
Oh, well, good day.
Good
See,
day.
that was a little joke. See,
Yeah.
Because they're north, but Australia's south. Top of the morning to you, lad. How's it going, eh? Don't be such a hoser. Tax Collector, yeah, I did a ton of stuff for Tax Collector. There's all kinds of stuff. Most of it isn't on camera. A lot of it got cut out or cut around. It was very graphic. I'm willing to bet that maybe it got cut out because it was super violent. And it seemed that the tone of the film went a completely different way than what was intended. Turned out to be a little more like a soap opera than a violent drug cartel movie, which I thought it was going to be. It turned out to be more like Telemundo. But there was a ton of stuff. Did so much stuff. There's a guy where we drag his face on the pavement and half his face gets, scraped off. We did Shia LaBeouf getting beat to death and his shins splintered with a hammer. We did a guy gets his head crushed with a toilet lid thing, a porcelain toilet lid, gets his head crushed. We did explosion, a nail bomb, and all these nails go in all these people. We did a ton of stuff. I did a ton of stuff, but a lot of it isn't even in it. You barely see any of it, which is a shame. I was very disappointed, but what are you going to do? That's it.
Be disappointed.
Yeah, like everything else in life.
Hungry wives. He said, after a double feature, the following 2018 and this episode, it just hit me that Christopher Nelson can do anything. He gives a terrific and funny yet grounded performance in the same movie. He's delivering such inventively nauseating effects. And then I see him bring that same easygoing charm to the best interview I've ever seen with one of my favorite actors. I know it sounds like I'm blowing sunshine up his ass, but really, I'm listing all the reasons why I loathe him.
Whoa, that took a turn at the end.
Yep.
That took a big turn.
Christ, because it was just turning into a fucking...
Jeez. That was very nice up until the very end there. But I think I know where you're coming from. I think I can't do everything. Well, actually, I can do a lot of things. I'm pretty multi-talented. But thank you. That was very, very sweet of you until the end.
And humble.
I loathe him. And humble, yes. Grounded. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Thanks, man.
Bobby Hall would like to know what we think of the Phantasm series and how would we rank the films. Well.
Oh, wow. Isn't Bobby Hall a hockey player?
Yeah, and now he just watches our show.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hat trick for Bobby.
We'll save the ranking for a ranking episode, but yes, I'm a fan of the Phantasm franchise. Are you, Chris?
Yeah, I am. 1 and 2 I'm a fan of, and then I kind of started checking out. But I like part 2 a lot. Well, part 1's great. It's classic. But part 2 I just find so fun.
Yeah.
It's so makeup effectsy and weird and cool and of its time. It's very 80s. It's just, I really like part 2. It's everything I wanted to see in a part 2 of that nature,
Yeah, I would very much look forward to ranking that franchise, as I have.
How many of them are there?
5.
Okay.
Live Free or Die said, I'm in law enforcement, and the one-eyed sack reminds me of a case. A suspect did an armed robbery at a convenience store and had a pillowcase over his head with only one eye hole cut out. He was last seen running into an apartment complex, and we started knocking on doors to see if anyone saw anything. We knocked on a door, and a dude opened the door with one eye. My investigative skills kicked in, and it turned out he did the robbery. If he just had cut another hole, we wouldn't have even looked at him. Another great show, guys. Happy Halloween. It's a great story.
That is a good story. What were you thinking? What was that guy thinking?
Blvd said, Sean, I see your Waxworks record shirt. They make some truly beautiful pieces of plastic. Is there any vinyl that you and Chris own that you think is the most beautiful?
Vinyl that's the most beautiful?
Yeah.
Like a record?
Mm-hmm.
You mean like the colored vinyl thing situation?
You cool, man?
Like how?
Okay.
Whatever. Presentation, packaging.
Well, any old Kiss album, you can't go wrong. Are we talking about the colored vinyl stuff? What's the guy's name again? What's the person's name? Blvd?
Blvd.
Are we talking about Blvd? You mean Blvd?
Oh.
That's where my head goes. Anyway, sorry. I don't know. Yeah, Kiss records. I have a really cool, that Mondo, I think it's a Mondo Creep Show, which is really the artwork and all that, and the green record.
One of the coolest ones I have that really limited Aliens Mondo, the one that has the liquid in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they only made 48 of them, so it's super hard to get. What's it called? What's their blood called? It's the Xenomorph blood. That's what the vinyl's called, Xenomorph blood, liquid filled. Bobby Meek said, gentlemen, great show as always. Now the podcast is becoming more and more popular. Can you both tell us your Tom Sizemore stories? Cheers. I'll tell mine. I don't care.
You can tell yours. I can't tell mine.
What, not until he dies or something?
Well, maybe when I'm retired. I can't tell celebrity stories of this nature only because it affects my job and professionalism. But you tell yours. Go.
And mine's not as amazing. I met him at a convention in London. Came up to his table, was talking to him. There was a girl with me, worked for the convention. She wasn't with me, but he thought she was with me. And he started talking to me and he was being super cool. And then he looked over to her and immediately was like locked into her, like digging her. And when he found out we were together, even though we weren't together, but she worked for the convention, she had walked up to the table with me mainly to help me get the thing signed without pain. He suddenly thought we were a couple or something, and he turned on me like that. Like suddenly he just like blowing me off and like,
wow.
And then he went to sign my autograph. I still have it. He signed with a black Sharpie in a black area so you can't even see it. And he totally did it on purpose.
Oh, that's a dick move.
Yeah.
That's
and I'm like, dude,
he was trying to just
trying to flirt with this girl, right? And he thought I was with her,
right? So
then he suddenly turned on me, like I'm some asshole, and wow. it was weird. It was weird.
What a weird fucking guy. Yeah.
Anyway, it didn't surprise me at all. I mean,
no, that doesn't surprise me at all. I really wish I could tell my story, but I can't. Sorry.
Todd Jara said, hey guys, I know you pre-record the show and edit it down how you want it, but do you have any plans of ever doing a live show together where we can ask you questions in real time as well as a featured guest? That would be really cool. Just thought I'd ask because I'm sure many of us are thinking it. Awesome episodes consecutively, dudes. Keep them coming. Cheers.
I would do that. I think that sounds fun. I like the danger of that.
I'm up for it. We just got to figure out when. And promote it properly. I'd be down for trying that. Dub Bears Live 96 said, hey, Sean and Chris, been watching your show for a couple weeks now and really been enjoying the content you guys are producing. Got a possibly interesting question for you. Sean, I recently found some of your articles back from 2013 on Google from Bloody Disgusting, Dread Central, etc., talking about a couple rolls of unseen footage from the original Halloween that someone has. Apparently there's footage in that castle dancing around the front yard after the end scene of him being shot off the balcony and lying in the yard. There's much more of that from what I've read, including the 4.5 minute of Ray Stella and Dean Cundy messing with the Panaglide camera just days before they shot the film. For Halloween purists, I imagine any behind the scenes extras that have ever been seen would be priceless. Apparently the Accods were not interested in this at the time of the releasing of the 35th anniversary Blu-ray, but I figured asking someone with superior intellect of the Halloween franchise, such as yourself, would maybe have more insight to the subject. I've never heard anyone discuss it before. Keep doing your thing, gentlemen. You guys get me through some really long work days. Okay, that was a long-winded thing. Oddly enough, the person who owns all that footage, Mr. Billy Kirkus, a friend of mine, we are going to have on as a guest to talk about that footage and where it came from and what's happening with it. So he's going to be on the show soon, and I'll let him tell the story. I've seen a lot of it. He showed me a lot of it. It's really cool stuff. I mean, it's literally every bit of unused footage from the original Halloween, alternate takes.
So in other words, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we're going to have Billy on to talk about all that stuff. Luke Swigert said, "Hey, Christopher, I have a friend who thinks Shawshank is overrated. I do not share this opinion. What is your response to such an absurd statement? He watches this podcast like clockwork, so he's listening. His name is Cliff."
Well, heartless Cliff. I'm gonna say maybe, all due respect, Cliff, my pal, my buddy out there, look into therapy, break down those walls, get past that barrier. If you can't find overrated, how do you? What is it? Overrated? He said it was overrated.
He said it's overrated.
How many times have you seen it, Cliff? Call me right now. Call me on my phone, and we're going to get into this right now. I want to know, A, how many times you've seen it. Did you just see it once back in the day and went, it's overrated? Or, have you tried it and watched it a few times? We're going to dive into this. But, I think you need to get some therapy and have a heart, Cliff. Have a heart. Cliff. That's all I got to say. I don't know.
Right.
I could go on. You want me to?
I think he just wants you to shame Cliff.
I still like you, Cliff. It's okay.
Brett Stortenbecker said, "Have you guys read the Taking Shape books? Part 2 just came out discussing all the sequel ideas that were discussed that never came together. Maybe authors Dustin McNeil and Travis Mullins could be future guests on your show. Also, I tried the pretzel Pop-tarts. I thought the brown sugar cinnamon flavor were much better than the chocolate ones. Love the show. And as always, keep up the great work." I do not have the Taking Shape books. I have Dustin's Phantasm book, but actually Dustin reached out to me recently and offered to send me the second one, Taking Shape 2. So I guess that one's coming. We could potentially have him on as a guest. I think, have you heard about this book? It's basically the second.
Yeah, I have the first one.
You have the first one?
Mm-hmm.
So the second one's supposed to be all the unproduced sequel ideas.
Mm-hmm. That for whatever reason, and I don't know why, that doesn't interest me. I don't know. But yes, I agree. The brown sugar ones are better than the chocolate ones.
All right. Dylan J. Carver said, "Greetings, Sean and Chris. I'm an independent filmmaker based out of Northeast Kansas. Just wrapped my latest project in August entitled The Road Demon. Had the pleasure of meeting the legendary Christopher Nelson in St. Joe, Missouri at last year's Crypticon. Was there another guy named Christopher Nelson? Oh.
Boom.
What a great guy and super chill to talk to. Gave me some great tips on my redoing my Trick or Treat Studios Halloween 2018 hair. What I love about meeting people in the horror community is that everyone seems really laid back and willing to engage in actual conversation. There's this great sense that horror filmmakers and fans aren't only horror fans, but cinema fans in general. It's really great to have those like-minded conversations, so thank you. Also funny to hear the story about you all getting hammered in St. Joe. Not much else to do there. Question for you both. Are you either fans of the 1962 horror classic Carnival of Souls? It was primarily shot here in Lawrence, Kansas, and many of the locations still stand today. Wonderful film. Thank you both for everything that you do for the horror film and filmmaking community. Carnival of Souls, I've seen it. I own it. I liked it, but it's not something that I revisit. I love the look of the movie.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like Carnival of Souls a lot. Romero got a lot of his inspiration for Night off of Carnival of Souls, I believe. It's cool. I like it. It's creepy and weird and cool. And I feel like Rob Zombie pulls from that movie too a lot, or has. But
not my favorite Kiss album, though. So.
No. But yes, a good movie. Excellent.
Mud Nelson.
Oh, it's my pal Mud.
My name is Mud.
Mud Nelson.
Hey guys, what's your thoughts on the movie The Prowler? If you've seen it, I just discovered it recently. They shot some scenes in my hometown of Cape May, New Jersey, so now the movie is automatically way cooler to me. Haha. Yes, I am a Prowler fan, and I have visited those filming locations, actually.
And were they everything you wanted them to be and more?
No, there was a couple I couldn't find. That was kind of a bummer that I couldn't find them, but I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, I like The Prowler. Some cool gags in there.
Some real cool gags. Savini did some good shit in there. It's funny, the guy who played the killer, Peter, he's got a weird last name, starts with a G. He's a DP now. I think he shot Ghostbusters, in fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The new Ghostbusters or the
No, 84.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, wow, interesting. I'll have to look him up. Check it out.
Yeah. I had him at a convention once and for the Prowler, and unfortunately there wasn't a whole lot of love for the Prowler. He didn't do so great. Yeah. What
was the Prowler's premise, I know the guy was in the military. What was the deal? Because I was at that time I was only paying attention to the gags. It was on recently. I had it on in the background in the shop when I was working on something, and I still couldn't figure out exactly what the plot was.
As I recall, wasn't it like his love broke up with him while he was gone to war?
Right. That's what I thought. It was something about some broken-hearted soldier guy that just couldn't get over it and move on with his life.
Yeah. Just get over it, dude.
Just move on, man.
Yeah.
You survived war. Just get, I mean.
Dodger Rebel said, another slam dunk. Great show, fellas. Now I want some Pop-Tarts. Awoken Nightmare said, another great episode. How about you guys rank the Kiss makeups, including non-original member? Oh, wait. That did make it in. That did make it into that last episode. Yeah.
Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah.
So our
contest.
Our idea about the contest made it into the episode.
It did.
Oh, okay. Good.
But we didn't figure out how we were going to actually do it. So how are we going to actually do it? There is, if you just look up Google blank face for makeup, you can find like just drawings of sketches of face. Print one of those bad boys out, draw your makeup idea on it, and I guess take a picture of it or scan it and instant message it to me on my Instagram, which is @malfunction. And then Chris and I will judge them. And the winner will get a cool prize. We'll come up with something really cool. We'll come up with something that's going to be worth your time.
We have to figure out what that prize is, though. We got to tell people at some point before they're done.
Okay.
We gotta. We'll talk after this, or we'll talk, and we're gonna figure out a good prize for you guys. But yeah, it doesn't. You don't even have to print out the little face. Just draw it. Just draw a kiss makeup.
You could draw it too. The easier way would be to print out the face and draw it on it.
Or you can do it on Procreate, or you can do it on Photoshop, or you can do it however. If you're an artist out there, however way you want to do it, you could do it on your sister. You could do it on yourself. Get some grease paints and do a makeup. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see people actually do the makeup on either themselves or somebody else and take a picture of it. Don't you think?
That'd be cool too. I mean, it's really going to come down to what the best design is, whether it's on paper or if it's on somebody's face. Because if it's goofy as hell, it don't matter how good it looks on someone's face. It's going to be the design.
And you have to have a name. You have to have a name for said character.
You have to name the character, the whole deal. So what I'll do is I'll put together an official thing that I can put on Instagram or my Facebook page to kind of show the rules and maybe have a deadline. And we'll announce the winner on the show. And again, whatever the winning makeup is, Chris is going to do it on me. He's gonna make me up as the newest Kiss character.
That's right. That's not the prize, but that's one of the
that might be the reveal. Maybe you do the makeup, and we turn around, and this is the winner.
Maybe that might be the way to do it. Yeah. But I'll do the makeup on Sean, and you'll get a prize.
Yeah, it'll be a cool prize. We'll make sure it's not something lame.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, PJ is in the house. Are you ready for PJ Souls? Totally ready. Okay, here we go.
Ready.
Here we go.
There we go.
There she is. Hey. You see us?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Twins.
Totally. We're totally twins. We're totally twinsies.
I wore this shirt in your honor, but he's got the better one. So.
Aw, thank you. How you doing?
Good. Happy Halloween to everybody.
Well, happy Halloween.
unless you waited too long and watched it the next day or something like that.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for doing this. This is super fun and super exciting. I'm thrilled to be talking to you. I've been such a huge fan of yours forever.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy you're here, especially in Halloween week. And by the time this goes on, it's Halloween. How are you doing? How have you been spending your 2020, and how are you spending your October right now?
Well, the 2020 has been very strange. I've been spending it at home.
Yeah.
But had a good time the other day. My daughter and son-in-law and my 3-year-old granddaughter, we went to Hauntoween, so it was a drive-through haunted house. And the best part is they just keep dumping candy in the window, so the whole back seat was filled with candy. But other than that, just trying to catch up on some shows, do some unpacking of boxes, all kinds of things like that, just staying in touch with everybody. It's been homebound, trying to figure out what to make for dinner.
Have you moved or something? Have you moved? Is that why you're unpacking
No, I
boxes?
haven't moved, but when I did move here where I live now, I had a bunch of boxes in storage that are mostly, my kids are in their 30s now, but I still have all their toys and all their home movies and boxes. So that kind of followed me around. And I always keep saying now that they have kids, I'm going to unpack the Legos and unpack the American Girl doll so that my grandkids can play with them. But never seems to happen. It's either too hot or too cold because it's outside in another room that doesn't have AC or heat. So, but small little projects.
Great. And so you've spent most of 2020 obviously being healthy, I hope, and everything. And anything.
Oh yeah, the healthiest, because you don't go out, you don't go on an airplane. It's usually if I come back from a convention, there's been so many handshakings and hugs and airplane rides and hotel rooms that you come back with the sniffles or something. So it has been a nice experiment to see that germs actually do exist, and we probably should always be wearing masks from now on, even when conventions get back in the regular way, which I hope they do next year, because I miss everybody, and I am a big hugger. That part, I don't know if that will be able to continue as a tradition, but
I was going to ask you, do you miss the conventions? Do you miss it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Of course, it's fun to travel, it's fun to go places, and it's fun always to meet the fans because, at home I'm mom, I'm Nana, I'm clean the house, make the food, buy the toilet paper. At the conventions, I'm PJ Souls, and everybody is so nice and gives me so much love, and of course I miss that, but
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a strange year.
Very strange.
Very strange.
I'm glad it's almost
for everybody though. So
yeah,
at least we're not alone. It's strange for everybody in the whole world. So.
Yeah, that's true. And we wouldn't be doing this show if it wasn't for the strange lockdown, weird world.
So there's some good. There's some pluses. I think a lot of people have bonded with their families. They've gotten to know their kids, whereas before they're like, go to school, get out, go play. I think it's been a real learning experience for a lot of people, as to the way it was maybe back in the 50s and 60s when families gathered around and ate dinner together and breakfast together and lunch together and had a hand in their kids' homework. And so I think it's probably there's pluses and minuses, of course. The minus is the fear of going outside, especially for the older people and the vulnerable people. But, in the beginning, I was a little bit more cautious. I did the 7 to 9 senior hours at the grocery store. But, now I'm a little more brave, and I'm like, whatever, I'll wear my mask and my gloves and I'll be good. I'll be in and out. We've learned to live with it. And I think there's been definitely some pluses. But the minuses are, of course, the conventions. Like lastly, looking forward to that. My first London show. Well, not exactly London, but UK show. And that was going to be fun. And a whole bunch of other ones, Mad Monster in Arizona. So, but That's okay. Sometimes you got to step back and hopefully everything will get back on track. And it's amazing. There's so many new products out there. Masks, for one thing, you know. People are buying a lot of things online. And so I guess Amazon is ruling the day.
Yeah, we would have been just getting back from Manchester, I think, like today.
I think it was this past weekend, yeah. And now we're not.
Well, we'd be, instead of sitting here in the comfort of our homes talking, we would be stuck on a plane right now. So, you know, in a very long, boring flight. Have some questions from fans.
Okay. This is from Ian Fetterman. He carved me a pumpkin with me. I think it's so cool. Yeah. He does these, you know him.
Yeah. Well, you see that? Do you see that right there?
Oh, yeah.
That's one of Ian's. Okay. And Ian did Chris Ace Frehley pumpkin.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
nice.
It's beautiful pumpkin.
It's amazing. And I think it's so funny that he started out doing real pumpkins. And then he thought, well, that's silly. They're not going to last. I better convert over to whatever this is, styrofoam. So pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
We got two kind of similar questions. Ben Jones said, do you have any cool Bill Murray stories from Stripes? And Chris Hall said, is it true Bill Murray was hard to work with on Stripes? Thank you, PJ, and happy Halloween. So we got two different Bill Murray questions here, and go for it.
Yeah, well, I could tell you a lot of good stories, but you know, it'd be X-rated. No, I'm just kidding.
This show has no.
That's right. It's unrated.
There's no rating.
This show is unrated.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, Bill was pretty difficult to work with. I didn't know anything about him except from Saturday Night Live. I had done my screen test with Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman. I flew from the set of Soggy Bottom USA, which I did in Marshall, Texas, with Don Johnson and a great cast. It's one of my favorite movies that people don't even really know about except in the South, but it really is a hoot. Great cast. And flew from there to Fort Knox, Louisville. Yeah, Louisville. And did a screen test. And by the time I landed back in LA, my agent called and said, go back, you know. And I said, okay. And at that time, I hadn't even met Bill. Next day, first scene was with Bill. And I could tell he, you know, very competitive. He was going to be a little hard to get along with. And I made it my mission to try to best him and make sure that I was just as strong as he was in the scene. So, but any event, as usually happens in movies, you know, your co-stars tend to get a crush on you. And so it was a little annoying, you know, it was like a fly that you have to keep swatting away. And I was married at the time to Dennis Quaid, and I wasn't really interested in any location romance, but at 3 a.m. every morning, the phone would ring and it'd be Bill. The car is waiting outside to take you to my hotel room. And I go, well, Bill, I'm married and I have to get up and we have a scene to do tomorrow. So that's kind of the funniest thing I can tell you about Bill. And it's very flattering. I thought it was cool. But, you know, that's why I think we had such good chemistry in the kitchen scene and the spatula scene, is because we had an attraction to one another. I'm not going to lie. I thought he was very attractive. I thought Harold was actually more attractive because he was really funny. He's the one that stood around and said all the lines under his breath that were just hilarious. Bill was usually very moody. So it was winter. There was a lot of snow. It was cold. He had a little peach brandy in his pocket always. But, you know, in terms of the better mood people, it'd be Warren Oates, John Larroquette, Harold Ramis, and, you know, of course, John Candy was the best.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's a great story. Thank you.
Do you recall which scene the very first scene was that you shot?
Yeah, the very first scene was when we were handing out the uniforms. So we went. There's a picture of us, you know, and trying to get him because he's acting like he wants some sexy underwear or something. I go, just get your uniform, you know, pick it up. So, and then we did the bus stop scene, and that was really cool. That was fun. That was cute.
Well, at that time too, you had Was that his first feature film? No. What was
Bill
before
Murray?
No,
Meatballs.
No, I think he did Meatballs.
He did
because
Meatballs.
Harold
Okay.
Ramis,
Right.
Yeah, Harold Ramis wrote, they
Yeah.
wrote Stripes for Cheech and Chong, actually. It says that in the extended scenes. I didn't really realize that or know that. But
Oh, wow.
so it was, and they had a whole bunch of, you buy the extended version, which, has some interesting scenes of me and Bill in the bedroom after I come out of the trunk. There's a whole thing where they go to South America, and that was really written for Cheech and Chong, but they filmed it with Bill and Harold. But the interesting part too is when I got the part, they sent me right over to the costume place, and I had done Private Benjamin, and I played Wanda Winter, and I had a army uniform, so I used my same army uniform because they still had it at Western Costume with my name on it because it was only the year before, and then they just changed the name from Wanda Winter to Stella Hansen, and gave me an MP badge.
So you use the exact same uniform?
And the same boots, yeah. So, obviously, a year later. So I think it's so funny that in both movies I'm wearing the same army uniform, just with different names.
That's awesome. That's great.
Let's see. So John.
These are the details that fans crave.
They do.
Where is that uniform? It's probably seen somewhere. I don't know. Is Western Costume still working? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's got to be a big warehouse there.
I'd be willing to bet it's still there. I'd be willing to bet. Yeah.
Bill Murray had not only done Meatballs, but he did Where the Buffalo Roam and Caddyshack before.
Right.
Before.
Oh yeah. So those were all Harold. All these Meatballs and Caddyshack were Harold.
Yeah.
Harold
it was all
Ramis.
Second City.
In fact, here's another tidbit. Like I said, I was married to Dennis, and he auditioned for the part that Harold did, but Bill was holding out, and he said he would not do the movie, even though they were on location, starting to shoot. Everything was there, unless Harold played the part of, the other guy. And so he had to relent. He didn't want to, but when you look at it now, I mean, Harold was just the perfect foil for Bill Murray, and he was great.
Oh yeah, it couldn't have been anybody else other than
No.
It couldn't have been.
Certainly not Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis. That's
Sorry, Dennis.
Two completely different personalities. I mean, I love Dennis Quaid as an actor, but yeah, I mean, Harold played like a straight man, He's great.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, you don't have any kids with Dennis, do you?
No.
No, okay.
Nope. Dodge that bullet.
John Conrarty said, do you still have problems with your ear because of the hose incident in Carrie? And how many times a week do you hear the word totally?
Well, the two entirely different questions. And, because of my hearing problem, I can't hear the word totally, but I'm just kidding. But it's funny. It was very painful, broke my eardrum. The water hose went right in my ear. Brian De Palma liked things to look realistic, and Dick Zeiker was a stunt coordinator, and they did have the fire department, the fire chief, and he said, no, we can't do it the way you want it. We can't put a full fire hose on PJ's face. It could hurt her. And then Dick Zeiker jumped up and said, well, I'll do it. I'll man it. And Brian goes, okay, go. And so they did it. And I didn't know that he wanted my face to bat around like this with the fire hose. But when you turn your face, you could get it in your ear, and full force fire hose. Went right. And I slithered down the bench, and I just felt myself like passing out, and the pain was excruciating, and the grips came and picked me up, and they brought me to the Brotman Hospital in Culver City, because that's where we were shooting in the studio there. And ironically, I had both my kids at the Brotman Hospital just because the Natural Childbirth Institute was in Culver City at the time. But in any event, for 6 months, I went to the doctor, and he gave me drops and whatever, and I've completely recovered. So I do not have hearing loss. In fact, everybody's, my kids, my boyfriend, they always say that I hear like a dog, because I can hear a car coming from 3 miles away. There's a car coming, and then we're wait. Oh, there it is. So it didn't impact that. And then let's see. What was the other question?
How often you hear totally a week?
Oh, totally. I say it myself and I love it. I mean, everybody says it. And, you know, it was one of those things where I added just a few more. Deborah Hill had obviously written, well, not obviously, people probably know this, though she wrote the dialogue for all the girls, or most of the dialogue. And then, you know, with John and Deborah, they were very, you know, they were welcomed any kind of ad lib. So I told John, I'm just going to push the totally. If I get really annoying, just say enough, PJ. But he never did. And I do hear it a lot. And when I do hear it, and I say it myself, I always laugh. And I go, it's an awesome word. I love it. And I love the Fright Rag shirt. I mean, it's just, it's amazing. I'm so happy. I didn't think I'd ever be on a shirt.
It's one of my favorite shirts. I love this shirt. And every time I wear it on set, everybody goes crazy for it. When I'm on set, I always make it a point to take it to location with me, and I wear it on set. And everyone's always like, "Where can I get that shirt?" Is it true that, exactly? Is it true that that John liked the way you said "totally" or something?
Well, that was at the audition. The initial audition, which again is something that never happens or happened in Hollywood, is that you would go and you would read with the director and he would give you the part on the spot. But it happened in my case. I guess he had seen, obviously had seen Carrie. And from what he told me afterwards, he liked my character in that and had me, you know, was very interested for me to play Lynda. And so we read, and they had already read a bunch of girls. And then afterwards, you know, he told me that I was the only one that read the word totally the right way, the way he heard it. And I said, well, what other way is there? And he said, well, that's why you get the part. You want it? And I go, yeah. And then he said, can you stay and pick out your boyfriend? We got 3 guys sitting outside. So I auditioned with the 3 guys, and we said, you know, we chose John Michael Graham. There was something about him. And I think he might've had the glasses with him, because I don't know if that he wears glasses, but we're like, that guy looks like Bob. He does, yeah.
Yeah. Those were his real glasses.
Really nice. Oh, okay.
And he still has them. He still has them.
I know, he brought them to one of the conventions, I remember, yeah.
He promised that someday they'll be mine, he said.
Oh, yeah.
Adam DeFilippi said, hey, PJ.
I know Don Conradi too on Facebook, and I know Adam too. Hi, Adam.
yeah, they're both friends as well. Hey, PJ, how did your cameo in Halloween 2018 come about? Also, I've been wondering if it was done entirely as a voiceover or if you were actually on set.
Well, I was not on set. I went to some studio. Actually, I went to the Blumhouse production company, and they ushered me in. It was like, you know, going through the CIA. It was like weird. They patted me down. I went through a metal detector. No, just kidding. But it was kind of funny. And then we were just in a big room, and they had me on Skype with the director, David Gordon Green. And he had just come in from a run. He was 5 minutes late. He was like, sorry. And I'm like, okay. He was sweating. And then they just had me run through the lines, which were the same lines that were in the original Halloween, of the teacher speaking the quote. And he had me do it a variety of different ways. And and it was interesting, you know. I still haven't seen it, but I hope it's good. Originally, I got an email, and it was sort of a last minute thing. And I think they were like, well, we should, you know, we want PJ to do something. And I think fans and people were suggesting voiceovers. And I said, I'd love to do it. Just, you know, have to put totally in there, because I don't want to just do a random voiceover. I'm not really going to play a character. You're not going to see me. But in order for it to be a proper Easter egg, I really should say totally. So they agreed, you know, they agreed with that. And then we went from there. So I think it was really cool. I would have preferred to have been in it, but I understand. I was happy to be, you know, the voiceover of the teacher. And it was a good quote, you know, fate.
And you still haven't seen it. Any reason why you're just not interested in it?
They were going to send me a Blu-ray, a DVD, and they never did. So
really?
Yeah, that was part of the deal. I got them a session fee, a DVD. I did get invited to the premiere, but I think that was the same night. We were doing the convention, weren't we, Sean? So I think that was just too much in one day. I think that was the same night of the Sunday night of the 40th.
I think the premiere was the following Tuesday after the convention, as I recall.
Oh, okay. Well, you were there, so.
Yeah. I went to the premiere night. I think it was before the 40. No, it was after.
No, it wasn't. It
was after.
Right after.
Yeah.
Because Sandy Johnson went. In fact, I think Sandy Johnson went because they were so insistent that I surrender my tickets if I wasn't going. And then suddenly, it seemed like I think Sandy and her husband were able to go because I surrendered my tickets. But it would have been a fun night. But, the night belonged to Jamie Lee. But it would have been fun to see her and Chris Guest again.
Yeah, you should have came. It was a lot of fun.
I know.
Pearl Morgan said, "What do we look forward to in the future from PJ? Anything missing in your life that you may have always wanted to do?" It's kind of a deep question.
Well, that's like a totally random question.
Any future projects coming up that
I'm always saying I'm going to write my book. And I thought, actually, I did start with my daughter when this pandemic first started. And she would come over twice a week and we would go, she'd ask me questions. But she's my daughter. And I said, you know what, Ashley, there's only so much I'm going to tell you. I said, I can do a little brief outline here, but my life when I was in my 20s in New York City and then when I first came to Hollywood, I don't know if I want to really share all that with my daughter, but I said, we could do outlines. And so it was fun because, we started with my actual childhood because I grew up in different countries. So I said, let's do, it was her idea actually to do chapters based on, okay, there's the Frankfurt, Germany chapter, Morocco, Casablanca, Morocco, Maracaibo, Venezuela, Brussels, Belgium, Manhattan, New York City, and then Los Angeles, California. And that's when my whole movie career really started. And so we were kind of on a roll until she got pregnant. And then she didn't want to come over. And then I said, well, we could work remotely. But so we have a start, actually. We've got an outline. And so that's one of the things I would say that's, it's not missing from my life, but it's something, everybody wants to write their book. And I guess it would be interesting. I don't know. I know the fans would probably like it. And I always say I'm going to call it The Totally Girl. And so it is on my list to do. In terms of, there's nothing really missing from my life, except right now I obviously would like to go to Virginia and visit my son and his wife and my 2 grandkids that live there. They're both in the Coast Guard. I would like to, there's not too many places I still would like to visit, only because I grew up in so many different countries and my father was from Holland. I have a lot of relatives in Holland. I guess I would like to go back to Holland and see some of my cousins. I've been to Russia. I've been to China. I've been to the whole Far East. China. I mean, I've had a wonderful life. I've been to Australia, twice. But I feel very grateful to have had the opportunity to do all this traveling. But I suppose what's missing? Isn't that a book?
That's the book.
I think it's a children's book.
What's Missing?
It
the
is.
book.
What's Missing?
That's what it's going to be called. What's Missing? The book.
The book.
It's a children's game, actually. In fact, now I remember when you go out to a restaurant with like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old and you're waiting for your food to come, and this is based on my granddaughter, Jade, you put the knife and the fork, the napkin, the plate, and the glass, and then you have her shut her eyes, and then you take away the glass, and then you go, okay, open them. What's missing? And she looks around, and then she says, the glass. Then she's a genius. So it's a little children's game you play to keep them busy until their macaroni and cheese gets there.
Oh, I'm going to totally use that game when Sean and I are having dinner sometime.
Does he get impatient?
He gets impatient, so what's missing?
So that's completely the opposite. You're the one that gets impatient. I have so much patience. This guy has no patience.
Oh, I know. What's missing are at $1 million. I can't find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's what's missing.
You write that book, you'll have it. That book, I'd buy that book in a second.
Aw,
You kidding me?
well, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I'd have to give it to you for free because now I know you. That's how it works.
Right.
This one, I don't know if you have an answer for this one. But Jen Rodman Brown said, "What is PJ's thoughts on mainstream horror films?"
Mainstream. What do we mean by mainstream? Like the big one, the blockbusters, as opposed to the cult movies like Halloween that everybody loves more than any other movie on the planet, or especially around Halloween.
I guess so. It was kind of a random question that didn't really get into detail, so I'm not sure what she means exactly.
Mainstream, isn't it?
Maybe
You think Halloween is mainstream now? I mean, I think it's pretty mainstream.
Yeah, it is.
It is now.
It was a cult movie.
I think maybe they mean modern, like horror films now, as opposed to, back in the day or something, like modern horror. Do you watch it?
Yeah.
I don't think PJ's a fan.
No.
Yeah, I don't watch too many horror films, but I did like, what was that one? Oh my God. I do like Funny Games. That's not modern. No, that's probably not mainstream. Scream was on TV last night.
Last night, yeah, on CBS.
It was on
I couldn't believe it.
Night. Yeah, in fact, my son-in-law's parents who live in Colorado Springs were texting me and saying, "Hey, this movie, I don't know if you know about it, Scream is on." I go, "Well, actually, there's a cameo of me. I'm on the TV, and my scene from Halloween is on there." Mm-hmm. So they were all excited. And I remember when SAG sent me the thing, because you have to pay if you reuse footage like that. They have to give you a fee, and so I get residuals. But it was called a scary movie before it was called Scream, and I still get residuals as from a scary movie because that's how I had signed the contract. So
let me ask you a question in regards to that. Has a fan ever had you autograph a Scream poster because of that?
No. Good question though, but no.
You would. I mean, you're in the movie. Yeah.
I'm in the movie. I was, I thought it was really cute the way they used it, but I think the bigger budget ones are probably good. I don't know. It's like I said, it's not my genre. At the moment, I'm hooked on the PBS Masterpiece European TV series, mostly ones from Iceland and Holland. They're just so incredible, like Blood Pact and Thicker Than Water and Before We Die. Oh my God, they're so brilliant, and they're kind of horror in a way. They're more like what would be our CSIs or our cops or something, because most of them are solving crimes or involve crime families. But
there you go. You froze there for a second, PJ. You were like,
I didn't do anything, and my granddaughter's not here, so she wasn't in her Elsa dress. So. She likes freezing Nana. I'm very good at it. And she stands there smiling, and I'm like, anytime now you can unfreeze Nana.
Psycho Smiley wants to know if you were a fan of the Ramones' music before doing Rock and Roll High School, and if she says yes, did she still like them afterwards?
I had never heard of the Ramones, I have to say. I was into Jackson Browne, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, the Eagles. So when Alan Arkish handed me the cassette of the Ramones and said, "Go home, you're the #1 fan, you've got to really be into this music," I have to admit, I put it on, I played it loud. Dennis and I ran around the house. I was screaming, going, "What is this?" So it was very unknown to me, but I had to play the part of the #1 fan and completely obsessed with them. And as we went on and as I got to know them, I can't say that I got to know them really well because they were very quiet and very shy, and I think a little bit overwhelmed to be making a movie, especially a Roger Corman movie, probably more so Johnny, who was, very into Roger Corman in those movies, and the only one I knew that really, didn't involve himself in any spirits. But and then afterwards, though, absolutely love the Ramones, totally get it now, got it within a year after, and I absolutely loved the movie. It's my favorite movie of mine that I was in. And I see Marky every once in a while at conventions, and I ask that question myself when somebody wants me to sign. I go, did you know about the Ramones first, or did you watch the movie? It's 50-50. A lot of people watch the movie and then they got into the Ramones, at least the younger generation. I'm always very thrilled and excited, as with Halloween, that the next generation, they all embrace these movies, even Stripes, Rockmore High School, and of course Halloween with the horror crowd. But you know, these movies have been handed down, and they're still they're cherished more than ever. So I'm really grateful for that. Gabba Gabba Hey.
I was a huge Ramones fan. Huge fan from day one.
There you go.
There you go.
I have to show my Lynda Ramone gave me a honorary. Anyway, it's here. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
Presented at PJ Souls. I can't believe I have a gold record from the Ramones.
That's pretty amazing.
Of course, I didn't write Rockmore High School, but I will say that when Ed Stasium recorded me singing it, he had to play all the instruments because the Ramones couldn't change key. So my version is Ed Stasium, the producer, playing all of the instruments, including the drums, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Oh wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that. Wow.
Marlon Lucas wanted to know if you knew before you took on the roles that required partial nudity.
Yes. Well, I will say that Carrie was my first movie, and they had the opening scene in the shower. And it was my first movie. Yeah. My parents had just returned from Istanbul, Turkey, living there for a couple of years. And I had left college to have an acting career, and they were very unhappy about that. So knowing that they would be back in the States, they'd probably see this movie at some point, I was the only one that kept my towel on. So I was very conscious in that. Everybody else was like, Amy Irving, Nancy Allen, they all were trying to, you know, impress Brian De Palma. Everyone had a crush on him with me. But then when we did Halloween, it wasn't really in the script. But John Carpenter said, you know, when we came to that scene, it was just going to be him and Dean Cundy, and I think Deborah Hill was in the room. And he said, you know, you have to you think it's Bob, and he's under the sheet. You know what kind of game he's playing. You want to tease him and tempt him and get him back into bed with you because he's supposed to bring you a beer and you're supposed to continue the night. And he said, whatever you want to do, whatever, you know, we just need a little hint of something, but whatever you're comfortable with. And so that's why I did the quick, you know. Of course, I didn't tell my parents. They did go to the theater with friends of theirs, and they were horrified. But I said, but it was just a little slip of the sheet.
They had to have been proud of you, though, right?
Oh, I mean,
yeah.
And now I am. I'm happy, you know? Okay.
That's awesome.
I'll forever be young in the movies, at least.
Marcus Jewell said, "Hi, PJ. When you had to shoot the TV cuts, did it feel right for you to acknowledge the shape stalking you, or would you have rather kept your character unknowing of Michael's stalking?" From Marcus from Columbus, Ohio. So I guess in the TV version, remember you run into the house and you say, that guy's following me and all that stuff. There's really no hint of that in the actual film. That was added footage. I guess so. He's asking if I don't know if that felt like maybe that changed the way you felt about the character.
It changed the way I felt about Lynda?
Well, I guess what he's trying to say is when you shot the original film, you really had no idea.
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
Right. Except the three of us were looking and we thought it was Devon Graham, remember? But Jamie wasn't so sure.
Yeah, so but you didn't seem to... Your character.
No, I didn't know that there was anyone stalking or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because now this almost.
I just do what I'm told. No.
Because it would change the tone of the character when all that stuff happens with the sheet and everything and Bob and all that. You wouldn't have had any clue that there was anything going on, but now it's inferring that maybe you did know somebody was following you. I don't know. It's probably looking a little too deep into it, but.
I don't mind that. I think that's an interesting question, but I can't answer it.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this. Maybe I have, but you know that the house that you guys are in that extra footage is the Elm Street house. Did you know that?
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah, because I uncovered that a few years back accidentally, as I had went in.
Oh.
I had gone into that house when it was up for sale, and I took pictures of it.
Oh, wow.
But they never shot inside that actual house except for a couple shots looking out the bedroom window upstairs. It was always sets. So I had taken pictures, and I was watching the television version, with your scene when you come in and Jamie's got the towel around her head. And I'm looking at that living room going, I recognize that living room. And the thing that stood out was there was this rocking horse in the living room. And I'm like, I've seen this. And I pulled out the pictures and I matched them up. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's the Elm Street house.
Oh, my gosh. That's awesome.
And the room that Annie is calling from when she calls you guys is Nancy's bedroom upstairs that they did use in the movie. It was just a weird coincidence that Halloween was actually shot in the Elm Street house before Elm Street happened.
Oh, that's so funny. It's very interesting. Leave it to you to find out these things.
So then hence Nightmare was shot in the Halloween house.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow. Gave it some good juju to be popular.
Aaron Buzzes said, I have had a crush on her almost my entire life. I guess that's not really a question. That's all he said.
How many times have you heard that?
Keeps me alive.
Chris Hall would like to know, how did you like your character of Lynda in Rob Zombie's remake? What did you think of what they did with Lynda in that film?
Yeah. Well, Christina Cleve, I think she did a good job. She told me when I first met her at a convention, I think they sat us together, the two Lyndas, and she said, I just got to tell you that Rob Zombie told us not to watch the original Halloween. And I'm so mad that I didn't, because I would have totally changed my performance if I had seen it, because the only direction he gave me is you're a nasty bitch. Lynda is a nasty bitch. And she said, and then after I did the movie, I watched your movie, and I'm like, she wasn't a bitch. She was adorable. And I was so mad at him that was what I said. Well, it's a Rob Zombie movie, so maybe it needed a little bit of a darker quality. And maybe he just wanted that was his version, because it was reimagined as what if Lynda isn't so cute and darling. But I was a little outspoken. I wasn't bitchy though. I was snippy, but I think, compared to Lori, I think probably I was just advanced is how I always think of it.
I think
I already had a boyfriend, I smoked, I had sex, I was a cheerleader, I didn't do my homework, so
Yeah, I think your Lynda was just a little cocky.
Cocky, that's a good yeah.
Which worked for the character, right, for sure. John Howley, I think it's, or Hewley, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Does she stay in touch with any of her Halloween co-stars like Nancy Loomis or Jamie Lee?
Well, I wouldn't stay in touch. I have seen Nancy Keys at conventions, and again, they probably try to seat us together, and we talk, and it's like somebody you went to high school with, which we did, and we went to Haddonfield High, but you just never lose that chemistry or that friendship. Same thing the times I have run into, not recently, but with Jamie Lee Curtis, it's great fun, and we hug, and it's like 30 years hadn't passed by. So, but I can't say that, we call on a regular basis or see each other. I probably see Nancy Allen from Carrie more than anybody, and even Day Young from Rock and Roll High School. I'm more friends with them, but you never lose that with anybody you've ever worked with in a movie. If I saw Bill Murray, he'd say, hey, I got a car outside, come to my house. I go this time. No.
Now it's going to happen. Now when this airs, that's what's going to and it's going to happen at 3 a.m.
I don't think Rob would be happy about that. Easy the Third, that's their screen name, Easy the Third, said, question for PJ, do you have a funny or cool memory from filming the original Halloween? Also, at what point did you realize and see the movie's growth and popularity and say to yourself, damn, this is something?
Well, I always tell the story that after every scene, especially outside, we all were asked to pick up leaves. So it just was kind of fun that there were big garbage bags, and Deborah's like, come on, everybody, get the leaves. And we're scooping up all these leaves because they paid a lot for the leaves, I guess, to make it look like fall. And then I remember our lunches, which were basically sandwiches, obviously it was low budget, but the Donald Pleasance would always sit with us, and he just would be always quiet. And I think Deborah told us, well, he's in character. Don't bother him. Just let him be, because he likes to stay in character the whole time. So, but it was always weird, three giggling, cackling girls eating our sandwiches, and Donald Pleasance is just at the head of the table, very quiet, observing us. So it was just that was kind of creepy. But I wish I had known more about him and would have been able to talk to him. I mean, the fact that what I read later or heard was that his daughter was a fan of John Carpenter's music. And so that's how come he even decided to do it. And, so, but in those days, 20-year-old girls didn't really talk much to, I guess he was in his 40s then. I don't know. So
I don't know, maybe he was older than that.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Probably. I was being nice.
You didn't even have any scenes with him.
I didn't. No.
At least you got to meet him. That's cool.
Right. Yeah. I think I liked it when I saw the cast and crew screening, and I think I was blown away primarily by the music, which I had no idea John was going to do. And I thought the opening credits were cool. I was like so excited by that. I thought that was really creative. And then I just thought the whole movie just rocked. I mean, I just loved it from the beginning, but then especially the music. And I just remember feeling so excited. But in those days, people that put the movies together, producers, they're the ones that made the money. So it wasn't ever for me about the money that could be made. It was about, I hope I do good in this movie so that the next casting director sees it, hears about it, and I can get in and audition for another part, which is how it happened. And it did escalate like that, and that was cool. But I was surprised, I guess, initially when people didn't seem to be excited by it. I mean, I knew it wasn't a studio picture. It wasn't going to be, Warner Brothers Presents. So I didn't expect it to be on billboards and for it to have, the kind of advertising budget, obviously, that you get from a major studio production. But I was expecting it to be a little bit more accepted, received. But as would happen with any good movie, it was word of mouth. And that's really kind of the best way. And that's what's kept it going all these years, I think. So,
were you at all surprised that John never brought you back for anything? I mean, he seemed to bring back almost everybody. Charles, Nancy, Jamie, all got other roles in other films.
Yeah, I guess he thought I was dead. No, Lynda's dead. I was surprised that he brought Adrienne Barbeau to the cast and crew screening. I will say that. I was like, who's that? I thought he was with Deborah Hill. What happened? John and I had a great relationship. I don't know. I guess he, Jamie and Deborah and he had a closer relationship. At the time, let's see, was I married then? Yeah, I think I just gotten married, or I was going to get married. I got married in 78. So, I was living a different kind of a life. So I had more of a family oriented life. I was never a Hollywood person. I didn't go to parties. I didn't do drugs. I couldn't stay up late, which is why I left New York. I couldn't do the Broadway scene because I couldn't go to Joe Allen's and hang out and smoke cigarettes and drink all night. And I was on a soap opera in New York. I had to get up at 6 a.m. So I think it was, maybe I wasn't in on the whole thing of that. But I also I had gotten maybe 3 or 4 offers right after that within the year for other horror movies, but the scripts were really bad. And I also thought, you know what, I need to do a variety of films. And so then I was really excited and happy that I got offered Rockville High School. And then that started me in a different trajectory of I'd like to do movies, not just Carrie Halloween, but not just horror movies and be known as that, but to do a variety of roles. And I did a lot of television, guest star parts too on Airwolf and Simon & Simon and, a lot of
Knight
the
Rider.
shows that were Knight Rider that were out at the time. So I was fairly busy, but yeah, I mean, later on, I remember seeing John and we always had a very good relationship. I never asked him that question, I guess. Also, I think, like I said, he and Jamie were friendly, and he and Nancy Keys, she was married to Tommy Lee Wallace, and they were all really good friends. That was their circle of friends, so obviously you're going to offer them a part. Maybe there was just nothing that he thought I would be right for. I don't know.
Are there any of the films that you turned down? Can you remember any of those horror films that you?
I literally was about to ask the same question.
I don't think they became anything. I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
But no, I know they were pretty bad.
On that same subject, has there ever been a part that you turned down that ended up being something big that you kind of kick yourself for passing on?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
no, I can't
good.
remember. I do remember when we were filming Stripe, and I was having a little problem with Sean Young. It was her first movie. Ivan kept talking to me about, well, just help her, help her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right. But, she just says the lines so differently than I would expect. And we had 3 scenes that were cut that were just between her and I in like our dorm room and to establish our relationship a little more that Ivan cut. And I blame her, but I like Sean very much. But I used to call her Sean very young. And I just remember when I was told by my agent that they submitted Sean Young for Blade Runner while we're still filming Stripe. And I'm like, well, why didn't they submit me? I mean, now I see she was dark haired. I was a different type and she's a beautiful girl. But I was so angry. Wow. Ivan is complaining to me and trying to make me help Sean be better in the scenes. And then our 3 scenes are cut and then they submit. And I even asked Harold, I said, why would you send her? Why would you submit her to Ridley Scott? And he said, she's so beautiful. I'm like, okay. But I know there's the Sean Young camp and the PJ Souls camp and Stripes. I've seen those little message things of who did you like better, Stella or whatever her name is.
Maybe the reason is because Sean had, that role was what, a cold,
a very wooden
robot.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the role was, but it was Ridley Scott, and I knew it was a big film. And she gets on the poster, and I'm like, oh my god! And I just worked with her, and I'm like, ah.
Yeah. You just had too much life in you. Too much life.
No, she was perfect for the role because she is very kind of bland. You know? So.
Yeah.
She was definitely beautiful, and she was 10 years younger than I was. But yeah, Sean very young. Bill Murray got mad at her one time. We did have the scene in the EMC 50 or whatever that vehicle was, and we all had to take, we had our lines, blah blah blah. And at the end, and I think Ivan took that first take, but he said we were going to go again. And she went over to Bill and go, "Is that how you're going to say your line? Because maybe you should say it." And she repeated it, and he looked at her like he was going to just slap her across the face. And after that, I went, Sean, I don't think you want to tell Bill Murray how to read his lines. I mean, I've been trying to tell me to help you. I can tell her that, and then she thinks she's going to help Bill. Said, oh,
wow.
Bobby Hall said, PJ, it was so nice meeting you at the H40 convention. I really enjoyed getting to chat with you as well as getting a pic and autograph. My question is, did you ever happen to put on the Myers mask while you were shooting the original Halloween?
No. No, I don't think so. I don't think that was something that I was especially interested in. When you're young and you're doing a movie, the whole time you're kind of nervous and you're just thinking about your lines and what you could maybe ad lib or how can you make it better or keeping your makeup so you don't look sweaty or keeping your hair good so it doesn't frizz, and those kind of antics and things like that. Definitely wouldn't have put a mask over my head, even if it was a wrap at the end of the day. But that's kind of a cute question.
I'm curious about Carrie and working with De Palma.
You're curious?
Yeah, I'm just like,
what would you like to know?
I don't know. It's De Palma. How was that? Aside from the terrible incident with the hose, aside from that, that was your first film, right? Or second film?
No, that was I had done a couple of short films in New York City before I moved. Right. I had only been in town I decided to make the move from Manhattan to LA. And then I only had a modeling agency, and she said, everybody in town is going to this joint audition. There's these two directors, George Lucas, Brian De Palma. They just want to see every teenager in town. And I had my red baseball hat because I was a model, and I heard it was sunny out in California. I had to wear my hat. I didn't want to get sunburned. And so that's initially how that happened. And I walked in, and they just looked at each other, and Brian said, I'll put her on my list. And George said, he nodded and went, okay. And then I turned to go, and Brian said, next audition, bring your hat. And I said, my hat? And he goes, yeah. So there were 3 subsequent auditions after that. The next couple were at his apartment on Fountain Avenue. And it was everybody that actually ended up in the movie. We were all there, and we did a table read we all took turns reading different characters around his coffee table. The only one that wasn't there was Sissy. But then it came the time of the screen test, and I tested for Nancy Allen's part, for Chris. And I had studied twice. I went twice to John Travolta's apartment, and we ran through the lines. And I did the screen test. It's the scene that's in the truck. So very sexy scene where she's asking a favor and giving him a favor. But in any event, that's the first time we saw Sissy. And I knew Sissy from New York because she was trying to do country music at the time in New York. And I had met her a few times, and I went, what are you doing here? And she said, I'm going to screen test for Carrie White. And I said, you are? I said, oh, you weren't at all the auditions. And Amy Irving at the time was convinced that she was going to get that part, but it ended up where, Sissy came in, and she was married to Jack Fisk, who was the set decorator. The designer was brilliant. And so he had begged Brian, please just let her come and screen test. And she obviously blew everybody away, and she had that definite Carrie look. We shot at Culver City Studios, at different other locations, and it was just a party. We'd all had our dressing rooms, and we had to be there every day because Brian would pull us in and over here and there. And I was really only set to be on for 2 weeks, just the volleyball scene and one other quick little scene. But after the volleyball scene, I had my red hat, I had pins in it, and we finished the volleyball game, and Carrie cost us the point, and I whack her over the head with my hat, and one of the pins caught in her hair, and I ripped it out because I'm like, you're supposed to be the nasty girl. And I felt so badly. I said, oh, Sissy, I'm so sorry. She said, no, it worked good. It's going to be great because, you were really mean, and it didn't hurt. And Brian was really cool because he invited us at Culver City Studios every day afterwards, 5:00, to go to see the dailies, which what director does that? All of the whole cast were sitting there laughing at ourselves and going, oh my God, so funny. And John Travolta was always laughing at, whatever antics I was up to. Had only one line. Thanks a lot, Carrie. That was my line with the vault. And he called up my agent after that and said, I want PJ for the rest of the shoot. And I just put her in where I can. She'll be Chris Harkinson's, best friend, and she'll do her bidding. And that was what he told me, So wow. I was lucky to be put on for the rest of the shoot because the red hat.
And I know I've asked you this before. I can't remember what you said. What happened to the hat?
Yeah, so it was a felt hat, and it just, after maybe about 10 years, I thought, I'll put it in the washing machine. And man, I pulled it out, and it just fell apart in pieces. So, but I have two reconstructed red hats, including the pins, not the porcelain pins that I had, but the pins that fans have made me. So I do have two hats with the patches, the cloud patch and the rainbow pins. And those pins I had bought in New York City. You know, people had collected pins back then and put them on stuff. And rainbows were really big at the time. Now they have a different meaning, I know. But I love the rainbow.
There's a reason you were so dedicated to Nancy Allen's character. Now we know the truth is out. Pride.
But I always tried to make myself, you know, it was my first movie, and Brian appreciated whatever I brought to it because he always laughed and he always said, "Way to go, PJ." So I was really, you know, I thought that was cool. I thought that all directors were like that. I mean, John Carpenter certainly was very caring and special about that too, and appreciate any kind of ad lib. And even in Stripes, of course, the whole kitchen scene is ad lib, but I just followed Bill Murray. But I came out wearing the red shorts in Carrie for when we were doing the gym thing. And he just looked at me and like rolled his eyes. And I thought, oh, if I can get away with this. The wardrobe girl wasn't too happy. I said, no, she's different. Norma's like a different girl, you know, she likes red. And so those little things help you stand out, you know, make you stand out, because literally I had one line. So I was like, what can I do? I'm not going to compete with all these, you know, beautiful girls, Amy and Nancy Allen, and everybody was always puffing up their hair. I'm like, I'm the tomboy, you know, so.
That's amazing. That's a great story. And it's De Palma, for crying out loud.
Brian didn't give too much direction. He sat in his chair and you knew that things were going well. He had this little kind of impish, devilish grin. And if he liked the take, you know, he would smile. He usually did one more for safety. He wasn't too big on doing too many takes, but he was really big on doing long setups. I mean, and he loved the crane, and he and Mario Tosi, the cinematographer, they would just confer, and the lighting took like 4 hours. And, you know, that's why we had to be there all the time. You never knew, okay, we're set, you know. It really literally took longer, as probably back in the day, most movies, the lighting and the blocking and the setup took longer than it did to shoot the actual, you know, scene. Which by that time you're so exhausted, you're not nervous anymore. I just want to do it.
Do you recall any scenes that were cut from Halloween? Anything that you were in that didn't make the film?
No, I think, man, we shot just what they wanted and needed. Yeah. And again, that was really, if he could do one take, there was one take. Mm-hmm. And that was back when they had film and they couldn't see what they got, you know, and they had to wait to see the dailies to make sure they got it. So that was pretty surprising. So
now, were you surprised when they called you back to come shoot more footage? And how much longer was that after? Was that like 2 years later?
I remember it being in 1 year. I remember being a year later.
They shot that additional footage while they were shooting Halloween 2, and Halloween 2 came out in 81. So figured that would have been 80. So you guys shot in 78. So I would have assumed it would have been 2 years.
Yeah, so maybe. Yeah, it could have been. I don't know.
I just wonder if that was strange. Hey, we need you to come back to shoot more footage for that movie you did 2 years ago.
Yeah, but it was for the TV version, right?
Yeah.
That's what they said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that made sense to me. So
yeah. Didn't you work with John Travolta twice?
Because of being in Carrie, and we had done our, you know, screen test together. And, you know, I always tell this, and it's funny because I had gone to his apartment twice, and I didn't really have a boyfriend at the time. And he was the only guy that I ever, you know, went to an apartment, and he just absolutely put no moves on me. There were no vibes. And I'm like, wow. I don't know. I guess I'm not his type. And not that I wanted anything to happen, but it was just weird because usually I was used to like fighting guys off or having a reason or, no, you know, I like you, but this was just zero. But we had a chemistry together as friends. And so when we did go to the dailies, he was my biggest fan. And every time I was on screen, he just was like, oh, PJ, you're so funny. And so he wanted me to meet his manager, Bob Lamont. And so I did. And I don't think Bob Lamont was too crazy about me, but he insisted that, you know, they call my agent and have me be in the boy in the plastic bubble. And I thought that was really sweet of him. And I really like him, and I liked him. And I auditioned for Urban Cowboy, but again, I didn't look like Deborah Winger, so.
I used to love The Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
Yeah, me too.
He used to come on TV all the time when I was a kid.
That was a good, I thought he did a really good job. I was proud of him. Glynis O'Connor, she was great. She was a big TV actress back in the day.
Look how current that is now.
Absolutely, we're all in a bubble.
We're all in the plastic bubble now.
But actually, the father of my kids, not Dennis, but Skip Holm, who was actually, he's a test pilot, and he was the pilot on The Right Stuff. I got together with him after Dennis and I separated, and I had met him during the filming of The Right Stuff when he took Dennis and Scott Glenn up in their jets and pretended they were flying when he was flying. And he had given me a card and said, hey, when you dump this loser, give me a call. I'll give you a ride in a P-51. And afterwards, he told me that Dennis was like making out with Pam Reed and everybody else. So that's why he called him a loser. But that was only after I found that out. But in any event,
that's awesome.
In any event, these are the details that are good for my book. See, but I couldn't tell.
Save
It's embarrassing to tell my daughter, like your dad. But he worked for Lockheed. He was a test pilot. He has actually the most combat hours in as a combat pilot in Vietnam. He's a Reno Air Race pilot. So he was working on this plane and being the test pilot for this jet called the BD-10. It's a personal jet that you could buy. And Travolta, as we know, is into flying. And he came out one day to California City Airport, and Skip said, oh, I'm going to give John Travolta a ride because he's thinking of maybe buying one of these. I said, I want to come. So he brought the kids out, and so he goes out to get his ride with Skip and me and my son Sky, of course, and Ashley. They were like 10 and 3 or whatever, come running out. And he looks at me and goes, PJ, what are you doing here? I go, well, I'm married to the pilot. And he goes, oh, my God. I said, you're in good hands. Don't worry. He goes, I won't. He didn't buy one, but that probably was the last time I saw him. But, again, if I ran into him somewhere, he'd go, PJ. And so this is the bond that you keep forever with anybody that you make a movie with. Again, I say it's like the kids you went to high school with. They look a lot older, but you remember them when they were young.
Well, now John's doing conventions too, or at least he was before the pandemic. So you never know. Maybe you'll cross paths at a show someday.
It'd be great. He's a love bug, and I know there's so many rumors out there, Scientology, all the other stuff, but he had a huge heart and is a very, very sweet guy. And we had a lot of fun. He was like a kid on the set of Carrie. Everybody was. We all had a good time. And Steven Spielberg, who was there's a little tidbit for you, was Brian De Palma's friend. He invited him down to check out the girls. And he asked every one of us out. We all said no, except for Amy Irving. And they ended up getting married. Wow. I was just remembered. I was like, no.
What was he just like? He's just like, you? How about you? You? Yeah, you?
It was, no, he would he sat around and we all thought, no, not exactly the most attractive guy. But at the time, his career hadn't really gotten going yet. I don't know. That's kind of the way it was back then. Invite your friends down and look at my cast.
Pick one out. Pick one out. Which one you want?
I don't think it was all in one day, but it was like, I think he went for Nancy Allen first, but she had her eye on Brian De Palma and she ended up marrying him. So I think Brian liked me because he asked me out a couple of times, but I said no. And then he asked me out, and I said no. And who else? I think there were a couple of extras, maybe. And then Amy, but Amy was the one that said yes. And we remember because she told us they were going to go to this. It was a Japanese restaurant that was at the bottom of the Chateau Marmont. I can't remember the name of it. It was a Japanese or Chinese restaurant at the foot of the Chateau Marmont. Mm-hmm. And she told us when we were going, we all went over there and we all sat across the thing so we could watch Amy and her date. Because we were surprised that she said yes. So we were funny that way. And Betty Buckley was staying at the Chateau Marmont because she lived in Manhattan. And I had to drive her. I had a little blue pickup truck, and De Palma asked me as a favor. He said, "Could you?" I guess I didn't have drivers in those days. He said, "Could you pick up Betty at the chateau?" Because I guess I lived on Franklin, and or I lived on Hollywood Boulevard. And so I pick her up every morning at 5:30 And she pulled down the visor of the passenger seat and she put on makeup. And I go, Betty, it's 5:30. What are you doing? We're going to be in makeup soon. She goes, I know, but Brian's going to be there when I walk in. Because I think they had been a couple in New York. Or they had dated briefly. I can't say that they were a couple, though.
Oh, this is all great stuff. I can't wait to read the book. Hurry up and finish it.
Oh, yeah, and I'll tell you another Betty Buckley story because this was really funny. So during the film, she and I became friends, and then we had weekends off. So we went to a concert at Universal, and I picked her up. We went, and on the way out, there were like, my truck and this other guy, and he's this young kid. I swear he was like 19 years old, and he's got the radio blasting, and she looks over to him, and they start flirting because we're, in a log jam here trying to get out of the parking lot. And all of a sudden she gets out of the car and she goes in his car, and I go, Betty, what are you doing? She goes, it's okay. I'll see you later. That was fun. And then the next day I call her at the chateau. I say, Betty, she didn't answer for 3 days. And finally I went over there because I was so worried. I thought, what happened to Betty? We must have had Monday off or something, because I went over there and I'm pounding on the door, and he answers the door with a towel wrapped around it. I go, is Betty okay? And she goes, I'm fine. And I went, okay. And I slammed the door. I'm like, oh my God.
Wait, who answered the door?
The guy.
I'm from the car.
Oh, okay.
The car.
Gotcha.
So, needless to say, Betty had a good weekend.
She had a good time. Wow, that's ballsy. That's
With
amazing.
a total stranger, but I guess it's
Wow.
no different than, Tinder. I don't know how that works.
It's a little different. It's a little different.
She was one of my favorites in Carrie. I loved her in Carrie, especially when she slapped Nancy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
That was the best.
She really smacked her, right? Yeah.
Again, I think, real fire hose, real slaps. We're talking, there's no stunts in this movie. Real pig's blood. What can I say?
Oh.
And Sissy was great because that took 3 days to shoot the whole prom scene. And once she got the blood on her, and they put a trailer in the back of the studio that we were shooting at Culver City Studios, which is completely changed now. And she didn't want to wash the blood off because she wanted it to match. And it's sticky glycerin. So for 2 nights, because it was 3 days, 2 nights she slept with, and then they just touched it up in the morning and continued,
Damn.
this shooting of the prom scene. So I always thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And she was the coolest girl ever. She didn't want to hang out with us or talk to us in the beginning, because she said, I really want to feel the distance, and I want to alienate myself from you guys. But after about 3 weeks, she was, I can't stand it anymore. You guys are having so much fun. So then she was able to straddle, her character. And I never got to meet the mother.
Oh, Piper Laurie.
Piper Laurie.
Until the conventions. She is wonderful. Yeah, I've gotten to know her in the last couple of years, and I just really like her. And, I guess they had shot those scenes not at the Culver City Studios, but somewhere else. But cool. I thought she really validated the movie for me. When I first saw it, I went, wow, this movie is awesome. But Piper Laurie brings it to that real A+ level, because her character was unbelievable.
For sure.
Yeah, she played crazy really well.
Yeah. She had some great lines too, right?
Oh yeah. Well,
oh God, yeah.
She had the best lines.
what is it? The something pants? What is it?
It's the dirty pillows.
Dirty pillows.
Dirty pillows.
The dirty pillows.
Yeah, and they're all gonna laugh at you.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
They're gonna laugh at you. They're gonna laugh at you.
They come sniffing around.
Two phrases I use way too often. They're all gonna
dirty
laugh at
pillows,
you,
and they're all gonna laugh at you. That's
I'm not going to get into why, but yeah. Thank you.
Well, I'm more inspired to write my book now.
Yeah.
Oh, you should. Please. You're a great storyteller, and you have so many amazing stories.
I left out the good parts.
and you're so open with the stories. I can't wait to read it, honestly. And I wish I could have met you back at the 40th. I was there, but maybe I hope someday to meet you in person. I'll introduce
Aw.
myself if I ever see you. So
Very nice to meet you, and
pleasure meeting
I
you.
hope to get a copy of your book.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that one too, and it's gonna have all the sauce in it. Finally.
All right. It comes with a jar of hot sauce.
He's got good stories, boy. You should write a book someday, dude.
I am
Oh,
actually. I'm thinking about doing it. I didn't think anyone would really care, but it's less about me and more about my journey through Hollywood and dealing with
yeah.
celebrities and actors and directors and giant movie sets and all the things that go on. And it'd be, I think, more about that, less about me. I don't think people give a shit who I am, but it's mostly dirt. But I got to wait till I get close to retirement, and then I'll do it.
Which is what my book would be. doing
You'd have a great book, but
I've got stories.
You have stories, but you also have a lot of video out there with you already. So, but yeah, I think it's surprising to me that books are still relevant, but there's so many political books out there, and I'm like, wow, and they're always on the bestseller #1 on the New York Times. I'm like, what? But every time, somebody writes a book, I'm surprised at how well it does. So I think there's still a place for actual hardcover books.
Oh, absolutely. I read them constantly. I'm always ordering.
I do too.
Prefer hardcover books, and especially people want to hear about people's journey through these.
Absolutely.
Anything with Hollywood or going through that or traveling or seeing the world. People love that stuff because then they vicariously live through you and those stories and want to see it.
Well, and everybody has their own journey that is unlike anybody else's. So you're reading about something that you don't know about and about a person's life. What could be more interesting than that? So, everyone has their own poem to write, and it's always going to be a very personal thing. So that's what's beautiful. And I'm really happy that people still do read books, and they do seem to.
Me too. And it's funny because I actually prefer biographies and autobiographies. I always have ever since I was a kid.
I like that, but I really am a fan of historical fiction. So that's
historical fiction.
The Invention of Wings is just one of my favorite books. I just love that, about the two female abolitionists. I mean, it's just a beautifully written. I love books that have prose and that are written. I think I like probably books written by women, but the historical fiction where it's based on something having to do with a factual event or events or time in history, and then and oftentimes the people themselves, the characters, but then obviously the dialogue and the circumstances and what happened within each scene has to be invented. But The Invention of Wings, if you haven't read that, I highly recommend it.
I will check it out. That sounds really interesting.
One last thing. Because I know you finally have a figure coming out in that little Fright Rags box. But when are you going to have a proper action figure? When is there going to be a proper Lynda action figure? Come on, NECA, I'm talking to you. Let's do this.
That's right.
Well, and people have asked about Norma too with the red hat. People have made those little pop figures. They've made them. They made them themselves. They got some other character and they put the little red hat on and they have me sign them.
Well, there's never even been a Sissy Spacek Carrie figure.
I think there is.
Oh,
I think there's a Carrie Pop. Yeah. Are they called Pop? Is I'm saying it right?
I'm talking more of an action figure than a Pop. I mean, a Pop is cool too. But I know they made an action figure of the remake Carrie, but I never seen one of Spacek.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
No, there isn't a Sissy Spacek one.
Yeah, I mean all those. Norma, Lynda, Riff Randell. The PJ Souls collection. Come on, get on it.
Yeah. Let's go, NECA. That's a NECA thing. They should do it.
What high school was Rock and Roll High School? Where was that shot?
Van Nuys High School.
Oh, it's the same one as Fast Times.
Van Nuys, and then the exterior where we blew it up. Actually, that was somewhere downtown LA. It was a building that was set to be demolished, so we were able to have a little pyrotechnic go up on that. But Van Nuys was during the summer, I guess. Yeah. School was out for summer.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
All right, you guys. Have a totally great rest of your day, and happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween, people. Love you.
Yes.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
That one's cool. I just
The
got
umbrella's
this.
in the pool.
Hmm?
The umbrella is in the pool.
Okay. Can you hold on one second, Sean?
Yeah.
Hold on.